What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Social Media Mindset Podcast. And this episode might take on a little bit different spin than a lot of our episodes in the past. And I'm perfectly okay with that. I hope that it does, because I have got, guys, for those of you that know me, y'all know that I love all things sports. I love all things competition. I will watch curling on TV. I will watch the spelling bee to watch 8-year-olds win and cry and lose. I just love competition. And so Anthony, I think you're the first pro athlete that has graced the presence of the Social Media Mindset Podcast. So you will always, like when I get LeBron on here, you will always be the first of elite athletes to show up on this podcast. But bro, you played for years in the NFL.
Yep.
You have been a successful entrepreneur. You lead Camp Gladiators. You are successful as a real estate agent. You might even have some other things that like you don't talk about publicly that I don't even know of. You have an office that smells of rich mahogany. And for those of you on the podcast, you can't see it. You can't see it. I'm looking at it right now, and I am so jealous. But bro, welcome to the show.
Appreciate it, man. I am super glad. I decorated just for you.
Thank you.
If you can see, that's a dog butt and the bottom. And you see that? But I got my purple light because you have the lights in the back. Do you see that
man, I see it. Yep, I see it.
And I put on a hat because I was like, Kyle always rocks a fitted, so I'm gonna put on a cap too.
So you're rocking the black on black hat. What's on your hat?
So this is a Roller Town Beer Works hat.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. Up in Salina, Texas.
Yeah, with Ben and Skin.
Yeah, Ben and Skin. Good people. Shoot, man.
I love them.
Let's see if we can get Skin on here.
Dude, you don't even say that. Don't even tempt me like that.
Just put me on the Christmas list, man.
Man, I've been listening to those guys. However many years they've been on the radio, I've been listening to them.
Oh, wow. So you basically became a man.
So that's right, man. They taught me how to be a man, whether that's a good or a bad thing. I don't know, but that's not what we're here to talk about. What I just want to jump in because we're going to talk about your story, and that's all going to come out through the episode. But the reason we're on this podcast right now is because I have a Facebook group called the Social Media Mindset that's mainly for realtors and lenders. And I try to coach and teach and encourage and inspire in there. And I put a post up the other day, and of course my phone will have reset on me right when I wanted to read it. I literally had it pulled up, and that's just how the world works.
You said it was perfection is not relatable.
Yep. That's what the post said. And I was going to read even more of it, but that was the gist of it, right? That perfection is not relatable. And I talked about in the post how I believe our industries have misled us because they've taught us in sales that if you want to be good at sales, man, you don't want to show weakness. You don't want to show your vulnerable sides. You always want to lead with your best foot forward. And so I'm talking about this, and you commented on the post, and I loved it because, sometimes you're just a man of few words, and you just choose those words so carefully. And so all you chose to say was such a deep topic. I felt this.
Yeah.
And it led me to go, dude, do we need to unpack this on an episode on the show? And so dude, just jump in. Like what caused you to feel that? What was it about it?
Because that's like you struggle with, I'm going to speak in first person. I have struggled with that.
Yeah.
Like even coming into the real estate business and really transitioning from playing football, getting into real estate, you're identified as this, right? Football player. And then now I'm going to a different avenue. How is that going to be taken? There was a while on there that, shoot, I didn't put my my face on my email because I didn't want somebody to not want to use a black realtor. You know what I'm saying? And so then I was like, well, screw that. I don't want to work with that person if that's how they feel, right?
Wow.
Or you see certain you see successful people, and then you're like, well, if you're not there yet, then that kind of makes you feel insecure. You're like, oh well, I gotta sell the $1 million house before I end up being the $1 million realtor. You get what I'm saying? So
and isn't it? It's fascinating to me, right? As the wannabe athlete, right? That if I can be totally honest right now. So I used to tell people, so I played sports through high school, and I had a small opportunity to go play in college. I would have never, now that I'm an adult, I can honestly say I would have never made it. But I tore my rotator cuff senior year. So I always got to tell people, man, if I wouldn't have got hurt, this, and this would have happened. It would have never happened. And I've come to terms with that. But what I find fascinating with this conversation is, I think in our world, we kind of look at pro athletes as like the pinnacle of pinnacle. Like if you make it as a pro athlete, you are at the top of the pyramid of who we think people are that are awesome, that are cool, that are successful. And yet here you are talking about transitioning out of that world. And instead of bringing all this confidence with you, man, it's exposing all of this insecurity.
Oh yeah, man.
And so it's fascinating to me that normal people, right? And I know you're going to say you're normal too, but for the sake of, you were a pro athlete, right? You played in front of millions and millions and millions of people. I think normal people like me would say, dude, that should have given you so much confidence to go do whatever you want, walk in front of whatever room that you want, make every call that you want. You're Anthony freaking Armstrong, former NFL player. But I've never been that. So, man, continue to just kind of walk us through, like,
sure,
why wasn't it that easy?
Well, for me, it was like, if I didn't have all the skills yet, your feet didn't feel like you didn't have the skills. And you talk about perfection. I was looking for it earlier. I remember writing it down. It says, my pursuit of perfection leaves me without satisfaction. It's like, I'm never satisfied because I know I can always do better.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I chase that and I use that to drive. I mean, frankly, that's how you get better. You have to continually work to get better. And I recently learned this. So I'm 38, so maybe 38 minus a couple of days. I had a lady in my networking group, and she said, you have to give yourself time to celebrate or else you get burnt out.
Yeah, it's good.
And so instead of like always chasing to get better, you got to be like, hey, I achieved this, good job, and then keep going, you know?
Yeah.
But then it also builds on, you talk about an athlete being at a level. Go look at Simone Biles. She's been an Olympian however many times over, Olympic champion, how many times over? More than Michael Phelps.
Right.
When she makes the decision to step out of the competition because she doesn't feel like she's in the right place mentally. Right. But then people bash her for that. Like, that's tough, because people, they love you so much for one thing, and you show some insecurities. And now it's like, well, you're not that good. And it's like, I'm a person just like you, you know? So
let's take her situation, since you brought it up, and make it relatable to everybody that's going to listen to this.
Sure.
For you, as the former pro athlete, watching that situation unfold, like what would you take from her experience for us to learn as just people now that are realtors, that are lenders, that own our small businesses? Like, what can we learn from her experience?
I think that she showed the utmost awareness to actually be willing to step out of that. And then she also showed bravery and courage to step down. That's the biggest stage in the world.
Right.
And it's okay to take a step back. I recently read the 4 Agreements, and they said always do your best, even if your best is like 70% that time. Do your best. And a lot of times, like coming through the league, like the expectation is 100%. And I've always been a guy that's like, I'm at the bottom of the roster. I could get cut tomorrow. I need to be perfect in order to make the team, because you really, if you're on the bottom half of the roster, you may be one play away from actually getting cut. If you're a draft pick, you have a nice long leash. You can mess up, you can do all those things and still make a team. The way I got to the league, if I sneezed wrong, they might have cut me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to always be on top of my game. And I guess that's like the edge I kind of carry. But then it also kind of ends up being a reason why you don't shoot your shot unless you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So how do you, because, you know, ever since you and I have known each other, like I harp on you for not doing enough video content.
Yeah.
You know, that we don't ever not talk when I'm like, bro, where's your video? Where's that video? Right. And so how do you, like, if you're teaching everybody as you're teaching yourself, how do you walk that fine line between wanting to be your best, but being willing to start when you know you're not?
Man, you did that right there. You got to put the action first and then put the feeling second, because then once the action happens, you'll be like, oh, that ain't that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do it. And then frankly, I use Instagram stories a lot. That's kind of my favorite because it goes there, it goes to Facebook, and it's gone in 24 hours.
But that's bad marketing.
No. But I'm saying you like it because it's like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be, it can be quick. It can be, generally if I'm putting out content, I try to make it maybe not movie quality. I'm not Spike Lee. I'm not Quentin Tarantino or nothing, but I want to put something together that's like, hey, this is the quality stuff that I want to see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I like to do a lot of stuff, but I gotta make things more streamlined. That's going to help me be successful.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content that I would make that would be evergreen. I don't need to make that every day, but I can be present making some content that then leads you to my evergreen content. That's very well produced. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. And explain to people, because I know what you're talking about, but there's a lot of people that have never heard that phrase evergreen before. Mm-hmm. So explain to people, like, what does evergreen content mean?
So evergreen content is just content that doesn't go old. It never goes out of style. So, I mean, 1 + 1 is 2. Regardless of how many different ways they change that you can count it, 1 + 1 is always going to be 2.
Yeah.
So in real estate, what's the option fee? Like explaining that stuff, explaining the earnest, explaining the escrow, like that type of stuff is going to be evergreen. And then if it changes, hey, guess what? You got more video content, right? Right. So, that type of a thing, and being more strategic with it, that's my thing. I'm a strategic thinking guy. So, if I build it the right way, then it's going to be a beautiful system that's running.
Yeah. And so the opposite of evergreen would be like doing an open house video, like promoting an open house, like that has a timestamp. Yeah. Not that that's bad, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as that open house is over,
yeah,
that video doesn't really serve any purpose.
Correct. And I mean, I personally, I get tired too. So having good evergreen content to build on and lean on is helpful.
So if we can treat this like a social media counseling session for a moment, and you get to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. If you look at yourself online, where do you feel like you personally struggle the most to be more present, whether it's in a certain type of content, a certain platform? What would that be for you?
Well, the reason I use Instagram too is because it sends it all to the Facebook as well.
Yeah.
I find I say I don't have time. I say that, but I know that you do. But a lot of time I act on like feeling like I got to be like, ooh, this is a good one to put on a video right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And if that feeling is fleeting, then it's like it don't hit the same.
Yeah.
If I'm like, let me schedule this impromptu thought for, later on. So, so for me, really, I would say it would end up being just the consistency. Like I've had to, I'll be very consistent, and then I'll take like a week hiatus, just out of nowhere. And I'm like, I haven't posted since September. I better show something.
Yeah, man.
I'm alive. I'm here, but I'm also a guy who's like, you don't count your chips while you're at the table type of thing. I don't post like congrats on my buyers going under contract, because what if they go out of contract, right? So I wait till the end.
People don't care anyway.
Exactly.
Like nobody even knows what under contract means. So why are we talking about it on social media?
They're like, hey, all right, good job.
So how do you, right? Because obviously the ability to become a pro athlete, it requires you to be willing to sacrifice what people are not willing to. It requires you to be consistent where most people are unwilling to. So you have had to have been at a point in your life the most consistent guy on the planet to be able to make it to the level that you made it. Yet that becomes the thing you're the least good at when it comes to social media, right? So like how do you overcome that when you know you can be that in other areas, which means, or does it mean that you're choosing to not be that in social media?
It just depends on, for me, it would be where I put my focus at. I spread myself all over the place. I do a lot of stuff. Keep myself very busy, family, kids, all that jazz. But I would say it would just be definitely just being more consistent, hopping on there, making it a thing. I have been writing stuff in a calendar and a weekly planner. Like I wrote, you're on my calendar, Kyle, right there.
Is it like a paper calendar, like we're in the 90s?
So let's bring the 90s into the 2000s.
Yeah, bro, they're remarkable.
Yeah,
come on, dude.
Tablet. Yeah, man.
There you go.
That thing, honestly, I can tell you, it's changed my life over the last.
Me too.
I guess I've had it maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
So everything's there. Been able to get stuff out of my head, put it on paper. I feel myself actually creating things more, like taking the time to build them and put it in place. Cause like, social media is in there, but I'm kind of like, hey, let me focus on building and working this thing. And
you better have a video folder real quick.
Honestly, I had a folder that was like Reels creation because I was
good.
Yeah, I have an open house reel, but home sells so stinking fast. But I'll get it done. Yeah. There's an open house reel that I have in mind. I just have to learn how to do reels.
Dude. Oh my gosh. How'd you learn how to play football? You just start playing football.
You get out there and you just go.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
You get hit in the face enough times, you put your hands a little bit closer together, and then you all of a sudden go, what? I'm starting to catch it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, I bet a lot of my career is just self-defense.
No doubt.
I'm faster than you. You can't catch me. All right, I'm gonna be good.
If a zombie apocalypse ever comes, you'll be good.
Hey man,
because you'll never be the slowest.
I'm training for that. So, I'm ready.
So talk about, because you lead Camp Gladiator, and so you're successful as a realtor. Right. You've played in the NFL. So I know it. Well, I'm kind of assuming this, but like you're not leading Camp Gladiator because like you need that extra money to pay your bills. Right. It's a passion of yours. And so have you seen leading Camp Gladiator influence your real estate business?
Yes. I mean, it's a positive, being in front of people all the time is a good thing, right? The more you can be around. So it's helped. It's been impactful on that side. And yeah.
Does it create conversations on social media when, you're posting your 5 a.m. pictures of leading Camp Gladiator and they just make me so mad because they just make me feel bad that I'm still laying in bed when I see that picture?
I'm laying in the bed doing nothing. I could be over there doing something. I've been seeing those. See, I'm studying reels, right? No, it does. Yes, it does create a conversation. But I'm like, man, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time on social media all the time. I'm always doing other stuff. That's all. That's truly what it is.
See, I think you got to shift your mindset.
Probably.
Right. Because there's probably people that would go like, why does Dak spend so much time like in the film room? Like why, like he's a good athlete. Why didn't he just go out there and play?
Yeah.
Because that's not where the game's won, right? Anybody that's ever played sports knows that there's so much more value in getting your mind right and studying than just going, well, man, I can sling a football or I can run a 4.40. I'm good.
4.2.
No, I was talking about my 40.
Oh yeah. Okay, good. Okay.
Did you run a 4.2?
Yes.
Bro, what?
Speedy.
I could run a 4.2 in probably like the 18-yard dash.
Don't pull anything, no.
Oh, I would break there wouldn't pull nothing. I'll be breaking everything.
Please don't.
So what advice do you give? Because you lead a networking group. Like you just lead in everything that you do, you lead. Where do you see, because mostly realtors and lenders are, paying attention to this podcast. where do you see them fall short where you're like, oh, if you just would have done it a little bit more or better? Like, what advice would you give to them for just what you see as a fellow realtor?
You gotta have the action. I'm a big action guy. Like I try to simplify things down to a level that we can all understand. Like when I get new campers, I'll get a new camper who is, God love them. They are like, I'm 5 out of 5. I want to go to camp. I want to lose weight. I've never worked out in life. I'm going to go 5 days a week. I'm going to go cold turkey, do everything. And I'm like, I love your enthusiasm. I said,
yeah,
but I just need you to show up to camp 2 days a week.
Yeah.
Just show up. That's all I want you to do. Just show up. Don't worry about diet. Don't worry about tracking. Don't worry about weight. Just show up. I'll bring everything. You just show up. And that's I know good. For me, it's if I do my daily activities, in which I have a little square on there that says videos that has nothing in it. So I apologize, Drape. But if I do my daily activities, I get the reward at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's number one, is the daily activity. Number two is that just in life, we're not patient enough. There's certain things in life that take time, period. Like, I don't care what you want to play in the NFL, you have to at least be 2 years removed from high school. Right. How old are you when you graduate high school? 17 or 18. If you do it on time, if you're 20 for some of y'all. Now I'm playing. But either way, 2 years removed, you have to wait.
Yeah.
19 to 20 years even to have that opportunity. You get what I'm saying? Or even if you have like a playbook, there's you can have success in any field. There's somebody that's in the lending field that you look up to, or you low-key hate, who's been successful. And every time you tell them, they're like, hey, I do this. You have a playbook to follow.
Yeah.
But it ends up being that we don't end up taking the action. And I'm guilty. I'm like that too.
Yeah, me too.
Right? It's just like Tom Brady will tell you how to be Tom Brady. But most people don't want to read an encyclopedia. We want to read take the pill and then pop it in the microwave and be like, ta-da.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think you get the stuff when you're ready for it.
So it's taking action, but it's also being patient.
Yeah. There was some audio that came by. It was a Georgia Tech strength coach, and he was talking to the team, and he said, how long are you willing to sprint when you don't know where the finish line is? And I was like,
wow.
Ooh. Because it's like, if I just tell you, you keep knocking against this wall, just keep showing up every single day. You'll get there eventually. You don't know if it's rice paper or if it's a whole mountain, but you just keep showing up. Those are the ones that they get there and they're like, oh, well, that was an overnight success. Like, it took me 10 years to get there.
Yeah. Man, I've been hearing that a lot. Like, because really in the last probably 6 months, like I've kind of started blowing up nationally for what I do.
Congratulations.
Right? Thanks, man. And, I've been a DFW guy for years and years and years. And now I'm finally, and I'm starting to have people that are like, dude, how did I just hear about you overnight? And nobody understands the amount of classes that I have taught for free, for pennies, doing stuff like I've done with you, like jumping on Zoom with your networking group and just loving on people, just practicing my trade, knowing that there's going to be 4 people there, 5 people there, 6 people there. Nobody sees that.
Yep.
But they're just like, man, how do I get to be speaking at national events?
Right. It's like they want to jump right on LinkedIn and go message Tony Robbins and hey, let me for you, Tony. I took my class on Udemy on how to be a life coach, and I'm ready to go in front of people. And it's like, you're not going to present in front of a class of Boy Scouts. Like you just not to throw shade, but you're not ready for that.
Right.
And you have to do
100%
to get there.
And I would even say that I think a lot of times, and I have to do this too, I'm sure you do as well, I have to recheck my motives and why am I doing this?
Yeah.
right? Because you go back to that Georgia Tech strength coach quote. If I'm sprinting without an awareness of where the finish line is, I better dang well know why I'm sprinting, or I'm going to stop sprinting.
That is true. That is
true. And I think that's what's wrong with our industry for a lot of people is they see the dollar signs of real estate. Mm-hmm. And that's really the motive for which they get in. They don't value people. They're not trying to help someone truly get into the, the life-changing moment of home ownership. They just want money. And so when those people are met with discomfort, man, very few of them kind of cross over that line of discomfort, because at that point, it's no longer worth it for them.
Yep. That's the truth. It's the truth. And it requires growth. I mean, it's taking a little while to realize it, but I mean, being a real estate agent is you don't realize the type of responsibility that you have.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're helping somebody buy a house. One, it's the biggest investment. If you think it's an investment or you think it's a liability, whatever it is, it's a lot of money.
It's the biggest one of either.
It's the biggest one that you're probably going to do. And I hope and pray that you guys can sell that one and buy a bigger house and buy a bigger, you know what I'm saying? So I wish you much success, but like, you're at the front point of this thing. Imagine this. I don't have statistics in front of me, but statistics show that like families are much better when they own houses. Like, they have, they earn more. They, kids get better educations, and I get to affect the legacy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then that's on the buy side. So I get to help somebody get started, and what they do is what they do after that. But on the sell side, like, I'm about to list a house in Dallas that it's been the original owner, built in 1986. I've been in that house. I like childhood. They know me my whole life.
Wow.
So there's a whole bunch of memories in that house. So when you sell a house, you got to treat it with respect.
Right.
I'm not going to disrespect 30 some odd years of your story. Are you kidding me?
Man, I hope people are paying attention right now.
Like, if you, as a lender, like, you really have the opportunity to help somebody out to get into a house. And it's beautiful when I talk to lenders who try to think the next step, like, hey, well, after you do this, you can consider this. And there's other resources that people can get into rather than just turn an application and get them out the door. And that's garbage.
Dude, I totally agree. And I love everything you just said. Yeah. So good. So I want to finish like with this. Selfishly, I've got to come back to the NFL because that's who I am. Right. Sure. I got sports stuff all behind me, not as cool as you.
Man, I'll tell you something about this stuff. You talk about the insecurities and me keeping my, I recently took this stuff out of like storage, maybe last year.
Oh, wow.
I never had anything out.
Why?
I never really wanted, I've always wanted people to like try to know me for me.
Yeah. Rather
than, hey, this is Anthony Armstrong, former NFL player. Because if you hear that, you're immediately going to sit up.
Sure.
Hold on. Who is this guy coming in? If you know Des Bryant is coming in, everybody's going to be on their P's and Q's.
Who's that?
Right. I think he caught a pass somewhere.
No, he didn't catch it. That's what they said.
No,
they said he didn't.
Funny story.
He did.
Did you see the game this past Sunday, the Cowboys game?
Did I see the game?
Now, did you notice if you were watching the Packers-Bengals game that was right before?
I watched that one. Yeah.
It was coming down to Mason Crosby kicking the game-winning kick. Fox.
8 times. He got to kick it like 8 times for the win.
Well, that sucker, look, the Fox channel glitched out, and it was like having like technical difficulties, and it cut to the Cowboys game. So in Dallas, they cut off the Green Bay game-winning kick.
Man, praise God for that.
That is petty right there.
Dude, that is the Lord at work.
Ultimate petty.
Is what that is called.
Been Jerry on the phone too.
It could have
cut that game
off. It could have been. So, okay, here's a question that I have for you that I've never thought about, but as you were talking, I thought about it. Because you're such a perfectionist, do you look back over your NFL career as more of a failure or of a success because you got there?
Or
is it a little bit of both?
It's honestly, I'm not going to say a failure. It's kind of both, but it's not a failure because I mean, kid from Carrollton, D2 ball, missed a year, went through Odessa Roughneck. Like I came up the back roads. That's a whole other 30 minutes. So just to get there was probably something that you're never going to see done in the way that I did.
Yeah.
To be able to then get on the field and start and actually, like have rookie card, like that was beyond anything I would have ever expected. So it took me a while to say that was a success. Right. I would always be like, yeah, but 2012, you were on 4 different teams. You got cut 4 different times and you like kind of dwell on that. And I'll be mad at myself because I didn't recalibrate the goal. The goal was to get to the league. I got there. The goal was to play. I played. At that point, it was like, now we want to maintain. Like, once I did that, you lost your edge. Lost my edge. So I wasn't like out there grinding every single. I mean, I was still working hard, now, mind you, but I firmly believe that if I would have said I want to play for 10 years in the NFL, I'd still be playing in the NFL to this day. That's just. Oh, well, I guess it would have been like whatever. Either way, I'd still.
So what was it that led you to finally go, like, it's not worth it anymore? Right? Isn't that kind of the conversation that has to happen when you choose to step away?
Well, so I never chose to step away. They just stopped calling me.
Okay.
Now, so in 2012, I got cut, bounced around from Washington back to Miami, Jacksonville, and finished up in Dallas for a little bit. And then I kind of made my way, finished up in Cleveland, which was a weird scenario of the universe kind of doing stuff. I kept 2 voicemails on my phone from when I got cut in 2012. 2 voicemails. One was from Richmond Flowers. One was from Kyle Shanahan. And I never called them back, but I kept the voicemails for whatever reason. And this was in 2012. Finally, in 2014, I'm like, I'm going to call them back. So I called Richmond. I said, hey, man, I appreciate you. Sorry I never called you back 2 years ago, but appreciate everything that you did for me in Washington. And I said, hey, do you have Kyle's number? Does he have the same one? He said, yeah. It's all right, cool. So I called Kyle, same thing, left him a voicemail. He calls me back and says, hey, do you still want to play ball? And I'm like, absolutely. Right. So for whatever I was blocking, I was angry about that. I let it go. And then I got another opportunity. Sure, yes, I got cut again, but I think it was more of the I had to say thanks. I had to just close that chapter. You get one more opportunity, and you meet Johnny Manziel, and then you get cut, and then you come back home. But I didn't choose to step away, but I think at that point it made it a little bit easier.
Sure,
it was still a 3-year like transition to get out of it, but it wasn't the best. You eventually just learn, you're like, man, like that's not the chapter that I'm in. You know what I mean?
Sure. So what lesson from the NFL season of your life do you feel like you use the most now as a real estate agent, as a Camp Gladiator coach, as a dad, as a husband? What is it?
That I can do anything. Not in like a braggadocious, like I'm the best, but like if given enough time, and with the right amount of effort, and even with minuscule effort, eventually you'll get there. I tell people all the time, I go speak at schools and I talk to kids and they're like, I want to be a doctor, or as a matter of fact, I went and spoke at a couple of Native American reservations. And honestly, that is probably one of the most disheartening situations to go to, because they have next to nothing. Like they can't even drink the water. It's contaminated with uranium. This is in Red Mesa, Arizona, Navajo Nation, one in South Dakota. Like the government up there doesn't provide in-state tuition for them to go to colleges. They've like flooded out a couple of their towns. They won't allow them to build a casino to try to be financially independent. It's a whole bunch of stuff that's going on up there. And you ask me, like, what do you want to do? Like, maybe just go to the military or nothing. they don't have anything to really dream towards. But I'm like, look, you don't have to go to Harvard to be a doctor,
right.
or be, you can come from anywhere as long as you keep chopping wood. So that's my main one. It's like, what do you want to do?
So good.
And what are you willing to do to get it? Keep
chopping wood. That's the title of this episode.
There you go. Keep chopping wood. I mean, eventually you get there, but it's delayed gratification. There's a whole bunch of lessons in there that you don't realize that you're going through as you go through it. But I say a lot of it is definitely delayed gratification. Just be committed to what you're going through. And I'd say you can have a why. Everybody says have a why. I try not to make it where you have to be like, well, it has to be super deep and connected. For whatever it is for you, like be you. That's the real truth. At the end of the day, we talk about the inauthenticity is just be you.
Well, and that's what I hate about the way some people are. They'll say something like, man, Anthony, you got to have a why, man. And then you tell me it and I'm like, that's not good enough. Yeah. You got to have, just let people have theirs.
Yeah. Like some people have a why that's money related, and we can go back and forth on that. And I'm not mad at it, but sometimes you got to get into, well, what's the money going to do for you?
Right. And I think most of those people know that there's a deeper seated reason as to why it's about the money.
Yeah.
They just don't know how to articulate it.
I guess that's the part that you put on video, huh?
I mean, you're not going to, but I would.
Hey, well, you know what? I can honestly tell you this. My main reason for being into this real estate, everything that I do, everything that I touch from now on is to build a legacy. That's what it is. It's to build a legacy for my family, for my boys, for my next baby that we about to have.
Oh, come on, man. Congrats.
Number 3. Thank you. It's to build a legacy.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to do right by people. I don't want to build a legacy based on some, shaky, shady practices. Like that's not what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to be an upstanding individual, do right by people. And then know that if I put out good comes back,
100% agree. So Anthony, how do people connect to you? Where do they go to find you?
Y'all can hit me up I'm on Twitter. That's my longest standing. No, that's not my longest.
Do you actually tweet and stuff?
I tweet, but I don't tweet a lot about real estate. That's the other thing, Kyle. I'm going way back. Like I said, I'm known for the football side.
Sure. Yeah.
So then out of the blue, I'm like, hey guys, buy a house. And they're like, what is
happening?
About football. Yeah. So it's taken me a while to actually let these two different worlds mesh.
Oh, that's kind of what it is. Dude, so I got to go find you on Twitter right now.
Mr. Armstrong 13. Okay. That's my Twitter.
Here I come.
Instagram is Rated Armstrong, RATED Armstrong.
Is that a WWE reference?
Rated Armstrong?
Yeah.
No, it's not. So actually,
okay. What happened, there's a guy that's called the Rated R Superstar.
Oh, really?
Edge. His name's Edge. No, Edge has been around forever.
Edge. I know.
But he's the Rated R Superstar. So when you said Rated Armstrong, the WWE fan in me was like, is he sneaking in a little WWE action?
No, but I am. My favorite WWE superstar is Shawn Michaels.
Dude, I freaking love the Heartbreak Kid.
Man, I tell you, I used to walk around giving everybody sweet chin music. Just bam, kicking them right in the chin.
Dude. I met him. I met him one time way back in the day.
Be a little jealous. I'd
we should probably end this episode, but we'll just keep going just because we can. For years, one of our family friends, his best friend was the producer of Monday Night Raw. Oh, so every time they came to Reunion Arena, right? So this is how long ago this was. We'd get to go for free and we'd go backstage.
Yeah.
And so I've got pictures with Stone Cold and Owen Hart right before he passed away. Man. Like all the big superstars.
Did you meet Mankind?
We did. Yeah, we did. He wasn't dressed as Mankind when we met him. So we just met. Yeah, we met him as Mick. But yeah, man,
that's pretty.
It was one of those things like you don't appreciate it when you're 12, But I look back and I'm like, man, I got to do so much stuff, and what a freaking spoiled punk I was.
Yeah,
for not being more appreciative.
It is what it is. At every level, you have things that you got and you don't got, but
True. Well, thanks for jamming with me on this episode, man.
Oh yeah, man. I'm glad I got to hop on. I've enjoyed
It's been awesome. So guys, thank you for listening. I can't tell you when somebody as cool as Anthony is going to be back. I probably will never have another pro athlete, so he'll probably be my only one. But love you guys so much. Appreciate you so much. We'll be back real soon with another cool person with an even cooler story. See ya.
See y'all.